Hi, so this week I've got myself 3 Nintendo Switch faulty joycons. Bought them off eBay, came nicely bubble wrapped. So this is a listing, £16. This is the list of faults, the usual faulty R buttons, disconnecting, etc. So we'll just have a quick look at the 3. So 2 right, 1 left. So I'm going to get my Nintendo Switch out, plug them in and then see what happens. So first up, the Hori pad, so plug it in, it registers, and if we give it a wiggle, it doesn't disconnect, which is okay. We get the grey Joy-Con, we give it a wiggle, it seems to be okay. And then we get the red Joy-Con, and that also connects. So it's a good sign to start with. Now we'll test the buttons, so straight away, we've got a faulty R button on the red Joy-Con, all the other buttons seems to be okay, and then we'll test the joystick. And there's a little bit of slowdown on it, but I have seen worse. We might be able to do an easier fix on that than replacing it. So we're going to the grey one, so straight away we'll go to the joystick. We'll try and get it to see, and then there you can see. So this is a pretty bad one, this has got major drift in it, so we'll have to replace that. And then we'll give it a once over all the buttons, so we'll give them all a press. Everything seems to be working fine, including the R button, which is always good. And then we'll move on to the Hori pad. So we'll just give a quick check, so all the buttons seem to be working okay on this one. And then we'll check the Joy-Con analog stick, and there you go, there's no stick drift on that either. So this is a good one. The description says it has some issues being played disconnected. Now, not a lot of people realise, but these don't actually have a battery in, so these can't be played disconnected. So straight off, this should be an easy win. I might give it a quick clean up. So as of such, this means this works fully and there's no repair needed on this one. So we'll go on to the grey one first. So we just undo all of tri-wing screws, disconnect the battery. Then I take out the 3 screws that holds this middle plate in. Lift up, there's a wire connected, so we just disconnect that ribbon cable. So weirdly, the R button has come disconnected, so it did work when I tested it, and now it's come off, so that's just a little extra work that we need to do. So the Joy-Con needs to come out anyway because of the stick drift. We're going to disconnect the board because it will make it easier to do the new button attachment. So there's the old button. As you can see, the pads are being ripped off, so there's no point even trying to reuse this. These are the 2 test points that we need to solder to. So we just get a little bit of dab of solder on that one, and a little dab of solder on the top one there. And then we'll just remove the excess solder on these pads so that the new button will fit nice and flush. Quick clean with isopropyl as we go along. Then I just add a little bit of flux to these 2 base mounting pads, and then we're going to position the new button into place. And then once it's there, we'll add some solder to the side legs, so it needs plenty of solder to make these nice and soldered again. Do this on both sides. And then if needed, apply a little bit more flux and then a little bit more heat, and then this will make the solder flow a bit smoother, and it will tidy up the side joints, also making them nice and strong. Quick wiggle to make sure it's okay, and then a quick clean. Then I just need to add a little bit of flux and solder to these 2 little pads at the bottom. These are what we'll be soldering to. So this is 0.1mm enamel wire, so we just need to solder to the middle leg, and then we just run the wire down to the top pad that we prepped, wiggle off the excess, give it a clean as we go, and then solder the second wire to the right hand pin, and then run it down to the other solder button that we'd prepped, and then wiggle it off, and then once again we can give it another clean. Just position them so that they're all nicely positioned so they're not touching. So I had a look at the shell that it came in, it is a bit worn and knackered. I don't have any brand new ones, but I do have a few that I've taken out in the past which are a little bit better condition. So I'm going to swap all the internals out of the old one and put it into a new one. So it's not much of an upgrade, but it is a little bit of an upgrade. So a new stick goes in because the other one had major stick drift and there's no repairing that. And then I'm also going to change the side buttons. So I'm going to take out the old plastic ones and replace them with metal locks. So this means the joycons are less likely to get damaged and move across. Also this side ribbon cable, these break over time, that needs replacing. So we just plug it all back in, make the connections as you go. Couple of screws in, battery in, antenna, fold it all up, click it together. Then we'll reattach it. And then we'll first check the Joy-Con. So there you can see no more stick drift, that's all fixed, working fine. Then we'll test the buttons. Straight off our button, working perfect, as are all the other ones. So that Joy-Con's now done. Onto the red one. So again, take the 4 screws out. Gently peel the side off so not to damage anything. Take the battery out, disconnect all the ribbon cables, excess screws, and then there's the button for this one already. So again, we'll have to take the motherboard out of this one, just makes it easy to work on. We'll get under the microscope, and then same again, just need to prep the 2 ports. So we'll take off the excess solder, we'll add a dab of solder to the top pad and the bottom one. These are the new lines that we're running to. Solder on each of the edges, new button goes in, and then plenty of solder on the side legs to make them nice and solid. Plenty of flux, plenty of solder. Check it still works, it's still solid. So then we just add a little bit of solder to the 2 pins at the back. Give it a good clean as we go. Then we just need to add the enamel wire again, so we start with the middle pin. Just run it down to that top test pad. Keep adding solder, keep adding flux. Make sure it's nice and solid. Break off the excess, add the second one. Run it down, nicely positioned. More solder and nice and solid. And then wiggle off the excess, give it a good clean. Reposition the wires if you need to, if they've just moved. And then that'll be fine, we'll give it a little dab off. We'll put all the bits back. So this Joy-Con only had a slight bit of drift, so I've used this electrical contact cleaner in the past. So what you need to do is just get the Joy-Con, lift up the covering that it has, spray this contact cleaner in, give it a good wiggle, press the button round, and normally it gives the Joy-Con another couple of months, possibly a year or so, life back in. Same on the side, we're adding another metal lock back on it to make it nice and secure. We'll put all the sides back in, all the ribbon cable connectors back in. There goes the battery. Fold it all back up together and then we'll go to test. So it's recognising straight away, it's not disconnecting, which is good. We have a quick test of the Joy-Con analog stick, and as you can see, no slow movement and that's working fine. Test the buttons, our button straight away, and then we test the other buttons and we're all happy with them. And there we have it, number 3 fixed. So the red one needed an R button replacing and the analog stick needed a little bit of a clean. The grey one, weirdly, the R button worked, but then that needed replacing as well. The analog stick was too far gone, so that was replaced. And the Hori one was purely down to seller error. It doesn't work wireless, it only works connected, so there's no issues with this one. So 3 cheap Joy-Cons, 3 now working Joy-Cons. Thanks very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.